It's a new rise.
Can somebody lift those hands tonight?
It's a new rise.
I need you to speak it over your own life
It's
tonight.
a new rise.
It's a new rise.
Hello, 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 and welcome to the Propel Deep Dive. I'm Megan DiMartino, and I am thrilled to have you here with me today. I've got my merry cap on. It's early December, the first Wednesday of December, and 'tis the season, guys, to just be blessed. So I'm so excited about my guest today and what we're going to be speaking about for the Propel Deep Dive. We're taking a bit of a turn because Ramona Rogers has been with me several times and with you over this last year. But I wanted to end the year with Ramona because we're working on various projects together, and they're really applicable to what not only the Propel Deep Dive, but also what we're going into 2025 and working on is collaboration. And so with that, I just want to give you a little overview about the Propel Deep Dive and the Propel program and the Propel community. Propel was started about 4 years ago after I sold a portion of my Novita business. I sold an asset purchase. I didn't sell the trade name. I didn't sell the product line, Novita Spa Clinicals. I didn't sell the URL, novitaspa.com. And I knew as I knew that it was time for me to give back to you because over these last 35, 40 years, I have started, scaled, and sustained 4 seven-figure businesses, 3 in the spa beauty industry, 2 skincare brands, have sold 3 of these businesses. And there is a formula to it. There is. But again, it's about starting. It really is. It's about your vision, your mission, and your plan. Because if you do not have a plan, you're planning to fail. And so I knew as I knew it was time to give back to you. And I started the Propel program. And then from there, the Propel community has been developed. So I invite you and just would so be blessed personally if you would join us in the Propel community. And Angeline will be putting up, and I see the trailer there now. So go to that propel.megandimartino.com/info and join the Propel community. Now, with that said, over the year, we've been doing different events, and one is the Propel Deep Dive. We started this actually in 2020 when I started the Unique Leaders Live and podcast. And as I was developing the Propel program, I segued over into and rebranding it under the Propel umbrella. So now it's the Propel Deep Dive, where I have leaders and legends with me every week, and they share their stories of how they started and what brought them to where they are today. But as I shared earlier, that Ramona has been with me several times. You can go back to the archives of all of the Propel guests in the Propel community. You can go to YouTube, to my page, Megan DiMartino, the Propel page, and listen to all the replays of the Propel guests, and go to Spotify, and it is a podcast. So we covered all bases. So with that, today, Ramona and I are going to speak about collaboration and preparing for 2025. So without further ado, my friend and colleague, Ramona Rogers.
Hello, 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 Megan DiMartino. An absolute pleasure to be here with you again on the Propel Deep Dive. I am excited for the topic and conversation today.
I am too. You know, I was asking Holy Spirit, what should we talk about? Meaning this is December, and my guests for this month are, as they all are, handpicked by Holy Spirit about preparing for whatever the topic and time is at hand.
Right.
And so here's preparing for 2025. And I said in your business incubator on Saturday,
Right.
If you did not start planning today,
Yes,
you're going to say January, well, hello,
Absolutely.
January. And it won't be until a beginning of second quarter that you really, and then, getting going. And then the year is done. And so it's time now. It's incumbent upon us to help people, Ramona, to really see that. So before we go into today, and planning, and collaboration. Just share with our guests who do not know you a little bit about you and where you began and what led you to today, and a little bit about the Royal Influencer.
Absolutely, Megan. And thank you again for having me. And it's an absolute privilege and pleasure to be here to share value with your community as well in the Propel Deep Dive. However, I am Ramona Rogers, and I am a speaker. I am an entrepreneur, as well as an author and a coach, a business coach. And I have not just started coaching in general, but I have been coaching for years with my over 30 plus years in corporate America, where I was a regional manager. I worked my way through this company from a CSR, customer service representative. I don't think they use those terms anymore. However, I worked my way, one of my first jobs was the CSR, or customer service representative, in this company. And I ended up graduating high school and getting my license as a cosmetologist all in the same year, just a couple of months later, following the footsteps of my entrepreneur mother and my entrepreneur grandfather as well, watching them from a child right under their wings, and just really took a love for business. I watched them grow it, not just grow it, but I watched them scale it, and then I watched them sustain it. And that is what I also get from you every time that I hear your story, and I hear all of the things that you were able to accomplish over a long period of time. And you too, coming from the beauty industry as well, is one of those common things that we have in common together. So that is the gist of who I am, a little bit, just to touch on my background and how it all started. So as a regional manager, I managed the Southeast region. And inside of that company that I worked with, which was Supercuts, they actually had an acquisition merger, which is the only reason that I actually decided to not merge with the acquisition and go over live in Minnesota, where they were offering us to relocate. I said, absolutely not. I could not. I had just gotten married, just starting a family, just bought a home in Florida, and it's tropical weather year round. How could I leave all of that and then relocate all of a sudden, just within like a year or so after getting married? So I definitely did not take that offer, and then took a different route and ended up going into being at home for a couple of years with my two oldest kids. And then one of my uncles, who's in law enforcement, decided to give me this little option, or opportunity, I should say. He said, hey, how about coming into law enforcement? I see that you've been home for a little bit, and I know you, and I know how you like adventure and like challenges and things of that nature. And I have a good friend who's hiring. And I said, you know what? I've always been interested, and he also knows that I've always been interested. I would just pick his brain for everything that he does and how he does it and things of that nature. And he was the chief of police. And I went to the interview, fell in love with it, and went through there was this, I was only 6 months out of having my second child, by the way. Yeah. And I went through this obstacle course. It was a training, and you had to pass. You had to make a certain mark. And wow, by 2 seconds remaining, I actually did it. So I said, well, this is what I am going to actually base whether or not this is for me on. I'm going to go through this test. And if I can get through this physical agility test, this is what they call it, the PAT, the physical agility test, if I can pass this test, that will be my sign from a higher power. Just having my daughter, my second child 6 months ago, if I was able to do it, then that would be my test and the go. And that's what I did. And I passed it, and for 8 years, that's what I did. And that was right before selling my home and relocating to Georgia, which is where I am today. So that is a little bit about who I am in the background. Now, Royal Influencers organization was born and birthed and launched in 2023. And it was definitely just out of me working with some of the top elite entrepreneurs that I was privy to be in close proximity to. And as you know, Megan, there's a power in proximity, right? So the more I spent time in many of these locations and places and rooms where we met on Clubhouse with people like John Lee, who is a guru on social media and in entrepreneurship. And then Grant Cardone would come in, and then Cindy Stampos would come in. And I was just in awe at listening to their stories and listening to their start and listening to how, when you take John Lee and how young he was when he started, and his story of watching his parents struggling to keep their business afloat and never really having enough, ever having enough. And then you hear Cindy Stampos' story of being the only female who watching her father in a business that she wanted to do something a little bit differently. And she felt like if he could do it, I could do it. So she had this idea and went out on her own. And now here she is, one of the only female real estate gurus of her kind, meaning building luxury homes at the level that she's able to build them. And then you hear of Grant Cardone's and all of the stories, how he started and where he started it's struggling early on in the very beginning. And now here he is, a billionaire status, because he never, ever quit. And because that's the common thread in exactly what you also share here on Propel. And that's what I did. I had this idea and I said, wow, after attending every single one of John Lee's events and having Cindy Stampo pop in and hang out with us for a few hours and share her story. And I would pick her brain right there on stage in front of everybody and with everybody listening. I said, you know what? I love this idea of starting something from scratch, just from an idea, the seed that God, the higher power, and giving birth to it and going out and becoming a solution for a problem. And that was exactly how Royal Influencers Organization was born. I wanted to recreate exactly what I saw all of them create on their own, on their platform, in their way, with their business model. So I created this business model, especially coming out of COVID. And I said, well, wait, the world has shifted. Everybody had to pivot and transition. They are now so accustomed to everything being online. Now nobody wants to leave online. The world's opening up. And I know you heard the story where so many people could, sorry about that. Motorcycle decides to fly by. However, I'm sure you heard where a lot of people couldn't get people to come back to work. They had now become comfortable with the new life and the new way of doing things that they had to create to survive the pandemic. And I said, well, nobody really wants to go back to work. They have now found a way and figured out how to make a living or at least sustain themselves in their home. And that's exactly what I decided to do, was to create the Royal Influencers Organization, bring all of these phenomenal elite entrepreneurs and business owners like yourself and like many of the others, and that I have been able to curate because we had now become friends. We had now started cross-pollinating audiences anyway. I had now gotten into their communities and they were now in my community, and whatever products and services I had created, they were now participating and I was participating in theirs. So I said, why not continue to take these events virtually online, where it's easy for people to now connect with them, where any other way they would not be able to do so. They would not have access to the Nelson Apegas or the Glenn Lundys or the Raymond Rays, because they had not necessarily been in the same places and communities and rooms and social audio apps where we were. So that's where I decided to create the Royal Influencers Organization and be the solution that I needed when I first came out and said that I wanted to join this MLM. And they said, well, you have to have a presence online. Well, I didn't have a presence online. I did not necessarily feel comfortable coming online and talking to perfect strangers about myself and my business or my business at the time. And that was in 2019. So here I am now with this following on all social media platforms. And it really came out of me knowing that there was a need to be the solution that I needed, and creating something that everyone, meaning the speakers that I curated, had a platform to continue sharing their value in their business. And then all of the people watching now had access, instant access to all of these phenomenal entrepreneurs, leaders, speakers, motivational speakers, and entrepreneurs just doing phenomenal things and willing. That's the key. They were willing to show up and we were willing to provide the value.
Let's talk about, though, Ramona, a bit about the transition. You made an interesting statement that corporations, certainly a couple of years ago, like in 23, going into 24.
Absolutely.
We're finding that these folks that they want to have come back to the mothership are comfortable. And I think that there's a understanding. Well, first off, the workforce knows that they won't have a job. And like you said, then they'll create something. But we know that that is not always easy.
Exactly.
The other piece is that we recognize that we need each other. I mean, online, like we are right now, is fabulous.
Absolutely.
It's fabulous. There's no doubt about it. But on the other side of the coin, I don't know if you find this, but I certainly do. There are people that now that I have so many things going,
Right.
that time is my challenge.
Absolutely.
And that there are people that have functions online,
Right.
but I don't have the time to attend them.
Exactly. Exactly. Yep.
And so I really know that 2025 is going to be a year of, again, another transition.
Yes. Absolutely.
Go back out really into the world.
Yes.
I mean, many very, very brilliant people, including Tony Robbins,
Right.
are now doing, real events, but they're also doing virtual, which is very smart,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. So
Yes.
that piece has been, married together.
Exactly. Yes. It became a new business model, actually.
It is a new business model. Exactly.
Yes.
But my question to that, is that the individual that is listening to us, not just today, not just this evening, but also in everything you and I both do online and our events.
Exactly.
How can we reach them to understand in a very, there's such overload. Let's just say that, because like I said, the time is the commodity that we don't have the luxury of creating.
Exactly. Exactly.
So how do we get individuals to really understand that they too, like you had that epiphany during the COVID period, the real lockdown period of getting to know John Lee? That's, again, how we met.
Exactly.
How you met Grant Cardone and Nelson Apega and different people. And people might not know Nelson, but he's a very successful real estate guy. But Cindy Stumpo, female, just, amazing woman, not only in real estate, but a builder, of luxury, not just moderate luxury, but luxury.
Absolutely. Yes. High-end luxury.
Word, I'm sure.
Yes.
But the point is but not everyone has the drive or the vision of a John Lee or a Cindy Stumpo or a Grant.
So true. So true.
They don't. And I understand that I really do.
Yes.
So how do we get people to understand, though, that they too can to have a dream, and really understand that they can attain that dream?
Absolutely.
Instead of just procrastinating, because procrastination is a spirit. I read this just last week.
Oh, yes, it is. Yes, it is. Absolutely.
Last week. And it's like, wow.
Yes, it is.
But it's a spirit of confusion. It's a spirit of fear. It's a spirit of lesser than, meaning that putting yourself down.
Yes.
So and I think how do we get people to understand without doing a full deliverance?
Right. Exactly.
Well, how do we get people to understand that they too can attain their dreams and goals and aspirations?
Oh my gosh, that was such a loaded question. I love it. And I love it. My mind was just going all over the place. I was like, oh, I could touch on this. I could touch on that. I want to tell them this. I want to tell them that. I love it. I absolutely love it. Well, let's talk about a little bit about the start of what you were sharing just now. And that was the precious commodity that we all have.
Yes.
Which is time. Time is that precious commodity. And I don't know And I don't know how many people have read the cash flow quadrant, which is from Robert Kiyosaki, right? It's those 4 quadrants that we all are in or have been in. And maybe some of us all 4 at some point in our lives, right? And people just have to really take stock, take a look do an assessment, a personal self-assessment. And that's something that every single one of us needs to do on a regular basis anyway. Not just at this time of year, at the end of the year, and go, oh, let's look back now and see what I've accomplished. What you really should do is on a weekly basis or a monthly basis.
Yes.
If you're very new at this thing called entrepreneurship or building anything, a business or whatever it is, you need to take a regular self-assessment as to where I am. But one other thing that I want to point out is you have to also have a mission, a vision, as well as be willing to take action. And those are your very words of principle for the Propel Deep Dive that I saw inside of your promo. And I went, oh, I absolutely love that. I'm going to definitely touch on these because that is exactly where the disconnect happens with many people. They don't have a vision. And for lack of vision, the people will perish, right? And that's what's happening is people are perishing in their business, perishing in their personal life. It doesn't matter if you're with a new spouse or you're newly engaged or you're in a relationship and talking about marriage. If you do not stop long enough at some point on the journey to say, what is my vision or my mission or purpose for moving forward in this relationship or moving forward with this seed, this idea for this business? What is my true mission? And then create the vision to go along with the mission or vice versa. Then you are essentially thwarting your progress and your success and your destiny in the long run. And you find yourself lost because goals, I've always said, goals, and I've done lives about this and I've done workshops and trainings and masterclasses on this, but goals are essentially a GPS, like a GPS for your mind.
Yes.
When you know where you're going every single day that you wake up, the goals that you have at the forefront of your mind is what's going to drive you to take the right necessary steps and massive faith, keyword, field action. Faith-filled action. You also mentioned one of my favorite words, which is procrastination. And I have my own little, I have my own little definition of procrastination. And I shared it with Glenn Lundy, by the way, when he was talking about writing his book. And he was saying, I don't know, I have to really get started. And I need you guys to help hold me accountable for making sure I get this book out by the end of the year, et cetera, et cetera. And he said, I keep getting distracted and keep getting busy and my schedule's so full, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then he went, after he did his segment, he went into asking people to speak. Anybody here wants to speak? So that morning I was compelled to, speaking of deep dive, right? I was compelled to speak over him in his life, in his book, because I know I've been in that room and on that stage so often that I've heard so much about his story. And not only that, he also spoke for me with a team with the Black Business Expo. He and Raymond Ray and Marvin Reed, phenomenal moderators and creators and producers of BWC. And they all came and said yes and spoke as well. And I heard a little bit of a different twist on his story because of him saying yes. And I unmuted and I said, would you mind if I just share my take and my definition of procrastination? And he said, sure. And I said, well, procrastination is essentially, yes, it is a spirit, by the way, Megan, and I'm so glad that you pointed that out. But my definition of procrastination is it's an arrogant assumption. Procrastination is an arrogant assumption that we have more time, the precious commodity that you mentioned and that I touched on already, that precious commodity that you'll never get more of, that we have more time to do that thing, whatever that thing is, that business, birth that idea, the solution to someone else's problem or to a whole community's problem that God called us to do today. So it's the arrogant assumption that we have more time to do that thing that God called us to do today. And the longer you wait, the longer you allow the spirit of procrastination to hold you back, stop you, and prevent you from creating the solution to someone else's problem, the longer it takes you to reach your destiny, as well as the longer those people who you were called to serve do not get to their destiny and do not get what they need to have as well as whatever it
Mic
is.
drop. Yes. Yes. Mic drop. And it is a responsibility. It's, that's why, as I said earlier, I knew as I knew, Ramona, when I sold this last business, that I was going into a season that was very different.
Yes.
It wasn't a tangible, and I was
Exactly.
creating this intangible, but it was
Absolutely.
about intellectual property, so to speak.
Yes, absolutely.
But like you just said, an arrogant assumption. Holy moly.
Yeah.
So I bet what was his response?
Oh, he said, "Oh my God, you just ripped my heart out." And I have to pick it back up and put it back in my chest.
Wow.
And that became he was in awe for one, and he was shocked for two. And he said those are his words. He said, "I'm in awe and I'm shocked. I have never ever heard it or understood it that way."
So guys, our guests who are here tonight, early December 2024, that do not procrastinate. What was the last word, Ramona? You listened to my TED Talk the other day. That my little clothes got a little convoluted there because of audio
And
challenges.
I loved it. It was all divinely orchestrated, even to end the way it did.
What was the last word I said? Today.
Yes, today. Yes.
Today.
Yes. Absolutely. And I absolutely loved it. That was the power punch of your entire segment or speech. It was how you ended it on that note. That exclamation point was to start today. And that's just a message that every single entrepreneur can stand at the top of the mountain and yell. From so many people use all of these reasons why they can't, right? I don't know if I can do it, or I don't think I have everything. But guess what? God, if God gave you that higher power,
Right.
and whoever it is that you serve, maybe you serve, maybe your religion is Hinduism, or maybe
It
it's
doesn't matter.
Buddhism, or it doesn't really matter. But we all still serve.
We're all spirits
Yes.
having a human experience.
Exactly. There you go. And so whoever it is that you serve, that is where that little seed started from. All of your thoughts start from there. Now it's up to us as the human having the experience to manage them.
Amen.
And that is what we are called to do. Not just allow them to get away from us, and not allow them to keep us stuck and stagnant, because fear is also a spirit as well.
Gosh, yes.
That's connected to procrastination.
Amen.
Not feeling worthy and things of that nature. So yes. Jeremiah 29:11, I mentioned this, I believe, in another Propel Deep Dive segment, is, "For I know the plans that I have for you, said the Lord." So you have to speak over yourself the way that God speaks over you. Yes. You have to speak to your situation the way that He speaks over your situation. Yes. This too shall pass. Mm-hmm. Trouble, whatever the trouble is for you, whatever the spirit is that you're fighting and dealing with, trouble does not last always. If going through a divorce or whatever the case, lost a job. I'm coaching people who lost their jobs, and they have a severance that they're living on right now. And guess what they're doing with it? Investing in themselves during this down period. So what you're doing in the dash, and what I mean by the dash is there's a date that you were born, and then there's a dash that you are living in right now before you expire from this earth. So what are you doing? My question is, what are you doing in the dash that's going to really move that needle closer to those things that you deserve?
Right. Yes.
And to build the life of your dreams, or build that legacy that you're going to leave behind, so that when people walk into your grandchildren's home or your great-grandchildren's home and they see your picture on the wall, and then what are the stories that they are going to tell?
Oh, wow. As you were speaking, I was thinking, because to me, we're both very practical people, and we're very hands-on, in the trenches, individuals. Mm-hmm. Making it happen, because one step leads to the next step, guys. Absolutely. You will not have all the answers. One step leads to the next step.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But how about we challenge, Ramona, our guests,
I love a challenge.
why don't we challenge our guests?
Mhm.
Because you're accessible, I'm accessible, and we
Absolutely.
want everyone to email us, however, best
Absolutely.
communicate. 3 things that you're going to, what's in your heart's desire
Mhm.
that you know you want, you have to do. You have to do. I'm not saying that you have to do it in 25, but you have to
Right.
start it in 25.
Absolutely.
What are 3 things? It could be just one thing, really. But
Right, right, right.
what is your heart's desire? Put it on paper, put it on tablet,
Yes.
get
Yes,
it
yes,
out
yes.
there, and send it to both Ramona and I.
Oh, absolutely love that. And I love that that you're using the power of 3. The power of 3 is biblical as well
Yes,
as
yes.
it's definitely powerful in business as well.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
I love that you said it could be even been just one, but you use 3. And the power of 3 businesses, huge businesses were built on the power of 3, believe it or not.
Yes,
Slogans, when that's a part of business plans, is to create a slogan and try to make it very snappy. You did it with mission, vision, and take action.
take
Um,
action.
Nike does it with just do it. McDonald's does it with I'm loving it. So
Mhm,
it's the power of 3 in
mhm,
business.
mhm.
So, and that's exactly what I love about the challenge, that you're actually the power of 3. We can actually call it the
I
power of
love
3
that. Oh, I
challenge.
love it. I love it. I love it. Let's do
Why
that.
not?
Write it down,
Absolutely.
Angeline. Power 3.
The power of
And
3
there's 3
challenge.
of us here. So that's
There
really
you
great.
go. There you
Yes.
go. Right.
Yes.
And then you can
But
also,
one of the reasons I didn't know that, meaning that I mean, I knew the power of 3, meaning
yeah,
biblically, but
yes,
basically I have the Novitab, umbrella, and then
yes,
the products, and then Propel.
absolutely.
And when I'm writing
Absolutely.
my goals and gratitude, it's always encompassing all 3 of
Yes,
them and entwining
yes,
them
yes,
together, with the product
absolutely.
affiliate program, and then speaking and
Absolutely.
doing, and it's
Absolutely.
all tied together. So, wow,
Think
that's
about the
rare. Oh,
Holy
I love
Trinity.
that,
The
Ramona.
Holy Trinity. Father,
Yes,
Son,
yes,
Holy Ghost. Power
yes,
of 3. There you go.
yes. Wow,
Absolutely.
wow, wow, wow.
Absolutely. It's biblical.
So
Business is biblical.
we met, on Clubhouse
Absolutely.
in certain rooms, but one
Mhm.
was John Lee's room, and of course, then
Right.
Glenn Lundy, who you just
Right.
referred to,
Right.
with that fabulous story, powerful story. And so we're talking about, embarking and filtering in what we've done for the last 3 years, 4
Absolutely.
years, and filtering into 25.
Okay.
So, why don't you share a little bit about, like November 30th or 31st, you did a virtual / in real time event in
Yes.
Maryland,
Yes, I did. I
and
did.
so and that was from a collaboration that you had made online,
Absolutely.
but taking it
Absolutely.
offline.
Absolutely.
And so, what I would like to, kind of tie together with what we've been speaking about
Right.
is things that you're doing with Royal Influencers, which are tying
Okay.
together with this program that the Holy Spirit just put in my heart in May,
I love it.
the Queen's Court
Yes.
Whole Business Experience,
So excited for that.
and propelling your business and life with leaders, legends, and you, meaning that it's going to be an
Absolutely.
interactive event. It's not just sitting there for 2 days listening to people.
Exactly.
We're going to be doing all sorts of programs to get people to
Absolutely.
connect with each other, to
Absolutely.
collaborate, to
Yes.
leave there with
Absolutely.
tangible relationships
Right.
that
Right.
can propel you to that
Absolutely.
and actualize that next step,
I absolutely love
of
it.
whatever it is,
Absolutely.
business, life, health,
Yes. Yes.
on
Yes.
and on and on.
Oh, wow.
So just share a little bit about, because you made a comment or statement, I guess,
Mhm.
before we went live,
Okay.
and you said that it was the synergy of the collaboration and just propel or just springboarding things.
Yes. Yes.
How
Yes.
important in a spiritual as well as tangible in real time life for
Mhm.
humans to be
Mhm.
together?
Oh. Oh, wow. It is absolutely imperative. We are social creatures, we're social beings. And entrepreneurship can be a very lonely journey, as all of us know, right?
Mhm.
Because it's on you to get you and your business where you want it to go and be. And you are oftentimes just toiling and toiling in the beginning, especially to get it off the ground, right? Toiling
Yes.
and toiling and toiling on your own. Everything falls on you.
Mhm.
And what a lot of people, and there's a very high failure rate with entrepreneurship. And I believe that's the difference. The
I
key
do. It
is
is.
is there long gone are the days of competition. And that's exactly what it was about back in the day, because we were modeling what the brick and mortar business
Right.
world was modeling. And we are now modeling it again. And now they are even collaborating. Meaning, even if you look at the fast food world, they used to make sure that they chose a location for their business on the opposite end of town or the opposite end in a different area. So you had to drive before, you had to drive a ways to get to the next fast food restaurant. If you did not prefer McDonald's, you had to drive a ways to get to the Wendy's or the Burger King or the Chick-fil-A. But if you look at their business model now they are all on the same block, and they finally got it. They went, wait a second. Families are comprised of multiple people who have different life. Why are we making it difficult for them and making them drive across town when their children prefer Wendy's and the parents might prefer Chick-fil-A, and everybody's in the same vehicle? And now I can sit in the drive-through of one of them and turn around and literally see the other from right where I'm sitting. And it's right here down the street from me, real time. I could hit a Starbucks and go right across the street to a Dunkin' Donuts.
Right. Right. Right.
So it's
Yeah. And
brilliant.
as you were saying that, I was thinking to myself, I was visualizing the parents driving all over the town. Well,
Exactly.
at some point you're going to say, kids, I'm sorry, you're having, a
Bingo.
Chick-fil-A. I'm sorry, you're having
Absolutely.
Chick-fil-A.
Absolutely.
And so therefore the Wendy's lost business or vice versa. So
Bingo.
it's really
That's it.
maximizing.
And they learned that, wait a second. And I've been in that vehicle with all four of my
Right.
children, and one of them was so upset that they couldn't get what they preferred that they just said, "I just want a shake." And I'm like, "You can't have a shake for dinner. You need food." And they just refused because they just didn't want or like that particular location. Well, guess what happens? Our customers are doing the same exact thing. Our customers need all of us. They need what you're offering. They need what I'm offering. They need what all of these speakers that I have curated and brought into Royal Influencers Organization, they need all of it. Now, can they have all of it at the same time? No, of course, maybe they can't afford it. Maybe they're just a brand new startup, whatever the case may
Right.
be, but they can still come and receive value
Yes.
from every single one of us, which is another new, very new business model, newer business model, I should say, is value, value, value. I learned this from John Lee. He said the selling model now is value, 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 sell. Value, 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 sell. And again, the power of three: value, 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 sell. So you give so much value on the front end that it makes it almost a no-brainer on the back end. By the time you give them so much value, they haven't gotten all of it, and they know they haven't gotten all of it, but they definitely took away enough to know now that, oh my God, my business cannot do without this person or this particular
Right.
product or this particular service. So it's a collaboration
Mhm.
is the new domination, is my answer to your
It
question.
is. It
How
is.
to help people see what they need, because long gone are the days of competition. I already mentioned that. And the reason why I'm bringing it back up is because competition comes from a mindset of lack. It
Lack.
comes from
Right.
a mindset of
Scarcity. Mhm.
scarcity mindset. Absolutely. You have to lose in order for me to win,
Right.
is
Right.
what you're really communicating to yourself when you're
Mhm.
competing with someone else.
Mhm. As you were saying that, my marketing thrust has always been clinical excellence with a special pampering attitude, creating true results with value.
Yes, yes, yes. And you're creating an experience for your customers as well, regardless of where they encounter you, regardless of whether they first hear you speaking, regardless of whether they're watching this deep dive, they are getting an experience
Mhm.
from what you have created
Yeah,
that they will never forget.
for sure. For sure. hopefully that,
Absolutely.
again, that's my goal of
Absolutely.
my mission and vision and taking
Absolutely.
action, because I know as I know, this is what I'm going to say. I know as I know that, and I'm in a different season. So I know as I know that, but my personality
Right.
is still there.
Right.
So
Right.
I'm
Of course. Of
trying
course.
to keep creating and doing,
Right.
but I know as I know that I have to edit things to take things that are of the most important for this season. And I
Right.
know that it's about giving back and helping others.
Absolutely. 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 And through that, just giving back and helping others,
Mhm.
oh, you can only be blessed.
Yeah,
You
no,
get it back tenfold. You get it
and
back
it is,
tenfold.
and it
And
is absolutely,
that's the healthy exchange
it is,
of business. That's the healthy
it is.
exchange in business. You give, and that's exactly what the value model is. It's give,
Right.
give, and
Mhm.
then sell,
Receive,
meaning you receive.
right,
And selling
receive.
is serving. Selling is not, some people get this icky feeling with selling. And if you are really building it on the premise of helping someone,
Amen.
it's
Amen.
helping someone, it's providing a solution. And when you build and think about build something that's going to provide the solution, and through serving someone, serving
Mhm.
others,
Mhm.
that is essentially what you're doing. And by default, on the back end, you're
Mhm.
receiving
Mhm.
compensation for the solution that you created to their problem. So
Mhm.
when you change the way that you look at things, the way that you look at things change. Some people have this icky feeling about selling. Oh, I feel like I'm pushy, or I feel like I'm taking something from someone. No, it's selling is a give and take. It's an exchange of
Mhm.
value for products and services that you
Well,
have
I've
created.
been in sales all of my business career, technically,
Likewise.
but
Yeah.
I look, I mean, I did 2 facials this morning, and I always
Right.
start out with a consultation, always,
Love it.
because I
Yes.
start by
Yes.
saying, they fill out an intake form, and I say to them,
Yes. Yes.
I want you to understand why you would even do this. I mean, why
Exactly.
would you even bother?
Absolutely.
And it's the
Absolutely.
why. And
Yes.
and so it's basically helping from the moment they sat down and filled that out.
Yep.
If you want to say I was selling them, but it's about
Absolutely.
information.
That's
It's
it.
about information. And then I
That's it.
give them a
Essentially.
two-week try me of the
Right.
facial central system,
Right.
Novitas system, because
Absolutely.
again, I could say this is the greatest thing since, whatever, but there's
Absolutely.
so much competition. Let them,
Yes.
the proof is the pudding, and let
That's
them
it.
make that discernment. But again,
Absolutely.
I'm educating them. To me,
Yes.
sales is education. It's,
Yes.
we talk about, we mentioned you, and we
Uh-huh.
spoke about Grant Cardone. I mean,
Yes.
he's a master of
Yes.
giving and sharing information.
Absolutely.
And it's up to you, kids, if you want to take it.
There you go. And you mentioned my event, my hybrid event, my very first Royal Influencers hybrid event. I really want to highlight this because the replays are available, by the way, as well. So if you want the replay, just DM me on any social media outlet. I can be found on LinkedIn. I can be found on Facebook. I can be found on IG as well as Twitter and on Threads. DM me the word replay, and I will know that you watched this deep dive
Right.
and that you are interested in receiving the replay, because that was Joel Hill is of Kemet Group reached out to me. I actually met him at a live event that was back in May in Maryland. And he was invited through David Evans of Pick TV Network to that event because he said, you need to be here, because he has a nonprofit that's geared towards people with Alzheimer's, because his mother passed away of Alzheimer's. And he said, and that was a caregiving event. And he said, you need to be here. They have a lot of great value that they're sharing. So I was speaking at the time that he walked in, and he stood right behind my seat and just stood there listening to what I was speaking about. And he had no idea that my seat was right next to him. So as soon as I sat back down, he was like, oh, he said, perfect timing, because I was listening to what you were sharing and I absolutely loved everything about it. Here's my business card. Just that easy and just that simple. Now, here
That's
we
it.
are. Here
That's
we
it.
are. Here
Right.
we are now collaborating. He has
Mhm.
gotten me on a call. He had me take a look at his business. He said, I want to do business together. I want us to collaborate and partner. And just yesterday, the ironic part of that hybrid AI business incubator event, I came up with this idea of business incubator because we're here talking about business, so much about business, right? And so many people have so many missing pieces
Yes.
when they build a business and you don't know what it is that you don't know. So
Right.
sometimes you're toiling and you're doing all of these activities and actions, but sometimes you're spending so much time doing the wrong actions, which is
Right.
why you're not really seeing the fruit of your labor or seeing the results that you think you should have by
Mhm.
now. And that's exactly what I do in my consultations and that's what coaches are anyway. They just stand in the gap and they stand in the blind spot because you can't read the label from outside of the bottle.
Right. I love
I'm
that.
standing outside of the bottle. You're in the bottle. You can't read the label, so I have to read the label for you. And then before you know it, there's this epiphany. that other word. There's an epiphany, and I have never done a consultation yet where the person didn't have an epiphany.
Right.
Where right away they saw something like, oh, wait a second. Oh, I never thought of that. Oh, I've never heard that. Well, guess what? We only remember 15% of what we hear anyway. So you can go to thousands of events and you're only going to retain
Right. That's it.
15%
But
of
that's
what you
why taking action is so, so imperative. Yes. Just that one
Absolutely.
tiny step.
Yes.
You know, the Martin Luther
Absolutely.
King quote is the first step on the rung of the ladder, because I don't know what the
Absolutely.
top is. But if you don't get on the ladder, kids,
Yes.
you ain't going to get to the top of the ladder.
Absolutely. And then we have Sir James Dentley, who saw me posting on social media and said, hey, I think we're aligned. I think we're doing some of the same things. And why don't we collaborate? And we'll be even stronger and better together. And I invite him to speak. He shows up and speaks and he says, wow, this is awesome. I want to be a part of what you have to do. And he got me on a call and asked me what my big goals were. And I shared my big goal was to eventually create a speakers bureau. And he said, well, I want to help you do that. And then he hears Joel Hill speaking. Joel Hill says, well, how about you invite James Dentley? And James Dentley shows up at the 11th hour and does the closing of our hybrid live and virtual.
Right.
And he just shifted the atmosphere. He's a phenomenal speaker and shifted the atmosphere. And just at the event that took place on Saturday, he came in to speak right after Joel, coincidentally. And then he said, Joel, you and we need to get together. And he said, I just want all of you to know I'm here to support Ramona, help Ramona with her vision of what we're doing here. And we have partnered and I want to partner with all of you. And Joel, let's get on a call. Well, he said, then he sends me a message. Hey, can you connect me with Joel? He connects me with his wife, who's doing phenomenal things for women, who I plan to definitely reach out and bring her into the fold of the Queen's Court that's coming up next year that you and I are working on. And then I connected him with Joel yesterday, and they are now working on some things. And that is the beauty and the power of collaboration.
Amen. Amen. So I think we should leave it there with 2025, guys, that you need to collaborate with Ramona and I and other people that she has mentioned, and just pay attention to things that are happening. I expect you to send your 3 or 1 or whatever, but
I'll be looking for it. 3, power of 3. Implement it right now if you aren't implementing it already. And anytime you ask or speak about what you do, you also want to only give people 3 things. 3 things. What are the 3 main things that you do?
Guys, you should put it in the comments in the Facebook right here, right now.
There you go. There you go. Even if you do 10 things, you want to focus on 3. And typically all of those other things fall more than likely under one of those 3 things.
They'll be
a
meshed part.
That's a little tip, little takeaway.
We're full of those tips. And so that's why I say, just join us, pay attention to, Ramona's next royal influencer, and I'll be doing something like what we did, in April.
Awesome. We also have a holiday gala that you'll be there. You just reached
right on the 6th.
On the 6th of December, we have holiday gala and networking mixer. So a lot of fun it'll be. Come with your Christmas sweater. There will be music. There will be raffles. There will be all kinds of fun and some business, but fun business. We're going to talk about goal setting and goal getting, not just setting up.
We're talking here. Just think about that. Come to the event and follow Ramona in social media, and there'll be a link to that. So
absolutely,
you just have to stay
awesome,
feet on the ground, and pay attention.
There you go.
Join us, because we will guide you to your success. We will. If you pay attention and want to join us, we will. So would you
Absolutely.
like to just do a closing, whatever to, Christmas? This is December or next year.
Absolutely.
Just a quick little
Absolutely.
close.
Sure. Well, I absolutely love that Megan also just pointed out pay attention. And I spell pay attention. I spell it different. I spell the pay. It's pay attention, paying attention pays. So I spell it with Pay.
Mhm,
Pay attention.
mhm,
And
mhm.
because when you pay attention, it pays in the long run. So I
Right.
absolutely love that Megan shared that. But don't ever forget the reason for the season. If you have not written your goals down yet, if you don't have your vision written down yet, if you have not yet written your mission, and it's never too late to tweak it as well, a little bit. If your vision or your mission did not necessarily give you the results that you wanted, or you lost focus on it of 2024, maybe it wasn't powerful or strong enough. Maybe you need to go about 8 levels deeper when you create that mission. It can't just be surface level to make money. No, it has to be way deeper than that. Okay, when you make all of this money, what are you going to do with it? What are your plans? And for I know the plans that I have for you, right? Said the Lord. So what plans are you making? Because failing to plan is like planning to fail. So you want to have a plan of action. What are those steps? What are your IPAs that you are going to put into action? Remember, take action is one of Megan DiMartino's principles for the Propel Deep Dive. So what are you going to take action on each day, which is going to become your IPA, your income producing activity that's going to move that needle closer and closer and closer. Not only that, not just what you're going to do, but who. Who is it that you need to connect with? Who is it that you're going to bring into your world, your circle, your business that's going to help you propel to the next level?
Thank you. Thank you. We're rolling our sleeves up, kids. So you roll your sleeves up
That's
and
right.
join us.
Absolutely.
But enjoy the rest of this month, this season. It's just special. Well, Ramona, thank you so much from
You're
the
quite
bottom of my
welcome.
heart.
Anytime.
You're
A
just
pleasure.
a treasure in my life. And thank you so
Oh, thank
much for
you.
joining
Likewise
us.
in mine.
So we'll see you soon.
Happy holidays, everybody.
What a wonderful segment. Thank you guys for joining us, Ramona and I, because our hearts are truly to be here to help you start, scale, and sustain the business and life of your dreams. But it is about those dreams, and always hold them dear in your heart. And know that they're there for a reason. As Ramona said, Jeremiah 29:11, that God has a plan for our lives. And there's nothing trite or small about it, but it's your vision, it's your mission. But take that action, take that step. So we will see you next Wednesday for the next Propel Deep Dive. I'm so blessed to have you here with us, and do join us. I'm sure Angeline will put again across the screen one more time the propel.megandimartino.com/info, and join us in the Propel community. Go to YouTube, subscribe. That helps others to find us. That would be very, very, very helpful. I truly appreciate it. We are here for you in the Propel Sparkle Tree there that when you go to info, my book is there, the Propel program is there, but certainly the Propel community is there where you'll get all of the archives for all of these Propel deep dives. So we're just here to help you with all of your dreams, goals, and aspirations. We'll see you next week, and be blessed. Thank you.